friends, I'm Joana and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a book tasting episode. Hello lovely book dragons and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joana and I love to read fantasy. I also read other genres, but my main genre is fantasy. And today I am inspired by one of my best booktube friends, Abby Salter, to do this first episode of book tasting. So if you couldn't tell in the intro, I actually said kind of her intro because Abby starts her videos by saying hi friends, and I think that's very nice of her and it genuinely gives you an impression of who Abby is. But why am I doing this video and what is this series that I'm starting on my channel going to be like? So, I saw this video on Abby's channel, but I've also seen that Jade over at JD Ray Reads does stuff like this, and I think there's another YouTuber whom I don't follow, but she's a romance reader, and basically the point is you pick a friend or a booktuber and you see what are some of their recommendations or some of their 5-star books or some of their favorite books, and then you read them and you're gonna see whether or not your tastes align. So because I was actually inspired by Abby's video, and I will leave her video linked in the description as well as her channel of course, where she actually sampled Alan over at the Library of Alexandria, who I'll also leave linked down below. I talked to Abby and I was like, hey, would you mind if I did something like this inspired by yourself? Because at the time when I had this idea, I was already reading some of her favorite books. I was reading Adi LaRue, I was reading The Midnight Library, I was reading The Faithful and the Fallen, and I wish I'd filmed those and then come on here, but if you know, I loved all of those books. I actually did want to do a video where I sample Abby's book tastes, and actually I went for books that wouldn't be so obvious that I would love them. So from now on, this is the first episode of book tasting, and I called it book tasting because kind of wine tasting, book tasting, you know. So what I'm going to be doing in this series on my channel is I'm going to be picking different booktubers, different content creators, and sampling some of their favorite books. I'm going to try and pick 3 books per content creator and read 3 books that they like or recommend, and then see if I like them or not. So for Abby's tasting, what am I going to be reading? It took me a long time to figure out because there are a lot of books that I would like to read that she recommended, and I want to read stuff that's a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And the only book that's not outside of my comfort zone that I owned and I thought this is the perfect occasion to read it is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. She really loved this first book, but she didn't like the sequel. So I'm going to be reading this one. It was already here at home. I owned it. I'd started reading it last year, but I didn't get very far and I put it down, not because I wasn't liking it, but because I wasn't in the mood for this kind of book and I wanted to give it my full attention and I wasn't, so I put it down. If I'm not mistaken, because I'm very bad at synopses, but I will at synopsis? At knowing what books are about. I will leave them in the description of this video, but if I'm not mistaken, in this book, books that aren't finished being written go to this Library of the Unwritten, and then characters come to life in this book, and then the librarian has to hunt them down because the characters want to go meet their authors so that they continue their story or something like that. It sounds really cool. I'm really excited to get to this, and I will see what I think about this one. The next one is completely out of my comfort zone, and that is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is a romance novel, like no fantasy. I sometimes read romance novels, but mostly around Christmas time because, you know, like the snow and the jingle bells and all that. Like, okay, like I'm like, either I do grimdark fantasy or overly cheesy Christmassy romances. So I decided let's do The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I had heard a lot of good things about this book before and it had piqued my interest in the past, and so I'm going to be reading this book. I'm a bit nervous because this one is like a, if I remember the premise of the story, we have this woman who moves into a guy's apartment, but they share it in a way that he has the apartment at night and she has it during the day, or vice versa, something like that. And they communicate through post-it notes, and so I think they fall in love because it's a romance novel. I assume so. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And the final book for this Abby Salter book tasting is going to be the one I am most nervously excited for, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I always said I'm not going to read this book. No one is going to get me to read this book. Well, here I am, because Abby, Vish, and Ali are always telling me I need to read this, and recently reading A Court of Silver Flames made me crave fantasy romance again. So, I'm gonna be reading From Blood and Ash. I'm really nervous. I don't know anything about this except that there's a woman or girl named Poppy and she wears a veil and she's a maiden, and that's all I know. That's all I know. I know nothing about this book and I want to keep it that way. I'm excited about this one. I'm super nervous. But the thing about this one, if I like it, right, I'm going to be reading a sequel, and that sequel, which is coming out in the month of April, so now, and then there's 3 more books coming out. 3 more books coming out. Then I have to wait. It's going to be like a whole Sarah J Maas situation again. But it's going to be exciting because I'm going to be reading them, I think, as they come out then with Vish and with Abby and with Ali. So it's going to be exciting. But yeah, let's first see if I like this first book. So those are the 3 books I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be reading The Library of the Unwritten, The Flat Share, and From Blood and Ash for this Abby Salter book tasting. Hey guys, I have I updated this since I started the book? I don't think I have. So it is Sunday today. I started The Flat Share yesterday. I read 14% yesterday and I thought it was really nice. It was really fun. And now it's Sunday and I only have 1 hour left of the audiobook, so I'm definitely gonna finish it today. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This book is so compelling. I cannot put it down. I love that the way the relationship between Leon and Tiffy is evolving. I just love it. And I love that it's like they're 2 people who have a lot of crap going on in their lives. Like this has definitely trigger warnings for sibling in prison and emotionally abusive ex. Like, I mean, yeah, they really have their own trials and tribulations that they're going through, and they kind of just find solace in each other, and I just love it. I love it so much. It's really a very cute romance that's really like friends, and I don't know, I just like it a lot. I have 1 hour left. So far so great. I really think that I'm gonna love this one. So first book seems to be pretty good for this Abby vlog, so we will see at the end when I'm done. But I did want to update you because otherwise it's like, hey, I'm starting the book, hey, I'm done, and you don't see any of the in between. But so far so great. I've pretty much binged a lot of it today, so I'm really happy about that. Hey guys, it has been a couple of days since the weekend. Today is Wednesday, April 12th? 14? I think it's the 14th. I'm so confused with dates. But I just wanted to say that I actually ended up finishing The Flat Share and I gave it 4 stars. I cannot give a romance book 5 stars because it is not fantasy, and there's something that prevents me from giving it 5 stars even though I really enjoy it. But I really enjoyed The Flat Share. I've been in the mood for romance since then. Abby, what have you done to me? So The Flat Share. Now that I'm done, I basically read this whole thing in like 2 sittings. So needless to say, I was really addicted. Pretty much what happens in this book is that we follow our main character named Tiffy, or one of our main characters named Tiffy, and she just broke up with her boyfriend and she needs to move out of his place and she needs to find an apartment. But everything is very expensive. She doesn't have a lot of money, and so she sees this announcement for a flat sharing opportunity and she thinks, this is perfect. I get to have the flat during the evening, so from 6 p.m. till 8 a.m. I think it is, she gets to have the flat. When she gets home from work, she gets to sleep, eat, cook, whatever, live her life in the flat. And when she leaves for work at 8 a.m., the person who is renting out the flat, Leon, he is a nurse and he works night shifts, and so he gets to come and do his like sleeping during the day because he works at night. So it works out perfectly. Leon is a nurse and his girlfriend is the one managing everything for them to get this flat share situation set up, and the situation starts from there. So the thing is that Tiffy and Leon have never met, and then to start communicating with each other, they just start leaving little post-its here and there, like, we're out of milk, or could you please do this, or hey, this is broken, can we fix this? And they start communicating via little messages, and then things go from there. I mean, you know, it's a romance novel, so you know what's gonna happen. But like, this is why sometimes I just love romance novels, because you know what's gonna happen, you know everything is going to go down, and yet it's addicting. But what I loved about it is that it's not just a romance novel. Really, this was so realistic, because on the one hand we have Tiffy, who is dealing with an abusive ex-boyfriend who's kind of also stalking her, who is actually stalking her. So trigger warnings for that: abusive, mentally abusive and stalking ex-boyfriend. And so she's dealing with all of that. She's dealing with her work situation because she's an editor, and so one of the books that she is currently promoting, so she's like an editor for like DIY kind of stuff, is kind of blowing up, and so she needs to handle work and that crazy ex-boyfriend, and so we have all her troubles and going through them. And on the other hand, we have Leon, who is a nurse, and so he deals with his patients who are sick and or dying, and more than anything he has his brother who has been unrightfully put into jail for a crime he didn't commit, and so he's trying to fight the justice system to get an appeal, to get someone to look at this case and to kind of set things straight and get his brother out of jail. So you follow both of them living their very, very messy and complicated lives and kind of finding each other and finding solace in each other. And this book was so good. I gave it 4 stars, like I said. One of the best romance novels I've read. I would put this and my level of enjoyment with The Unhoneymooners, which is the only other romance novel that I've read and really, really liked. So far these are my 2 favorites, and I really, really enjoy this book, and I'm really happy I read it for this book tasting. So far, so wonderful. I have also already started book 2 for this vlog, which I was gonna do like a smooth transition and stuff, but I kind of was just in the mood to read and not in the mood to like do these vloggy things. I started From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Guys, I always, every time I saw this book somewhere, I was like, I'm not gonna read this. This is the one thing I definitely won't read. It's fantasy romance. I don't want this, okay? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna read this series. Here I am reading From Blood and Ash. The reason I didn't want it is because it's a very long series. I think it's gonna be like 6 books, and the 3rd book is coming out this April. So first of all, waiting a long time. Second of all, I don't know, I always thought I didn't like fantasy romance. I thought I liked fantasy and I liked romance, but only like every once in a while, like 2 romance books per year. I never thought I would like them combined. But then I read Court of Civil Flames earlier this year. I have a full vlog about that up here. I will leave it in the cards. It's spoilery, so if you haven't read it, I wouldn't recommend watching it. And then I thought, maybe I do love fantasy romance. Maybe I do. So I'm not very far in. I've only read the first chapter and like a half, so I don't have any thoughts yet. I have a thought that the audiobook is really good because I feel like she does the voices well, and when the person laughs you can hear it in her voice that she's laughing, so the audiobook seems to be really, really good. But I don't have any thoughts. But that is the 2nd book for this vlog, From Blood and Ash. I'm so nervous, but I'm also excited. Oh, I messaged Abby saying that I was reading this, and her reaction was like, oh my gosh, yes! And she was so excited about it, and I'm excited that she's excited. I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to be part of this fandom. Hopefully I like it. Guess we'll see, but I will update you when I have a few more thoughts on From Blood and Ash. Hey guys, I just came here to update from the From Blood and Ash where I'm at. I am loving this book. I'm so addicted. I am definitely going to continue on with the series. I mean, it's maybe a little bit too early to tell. I have around 11 hours left of the audiobook, which is a 4.4 hours-ish when, because I'm listening to it at 2.5 speed. So I really hope that I'm gonna love it because I want to continue the series. It's so fun, so addicting. I'm just at the part where Hawk discovers that, or he tells her that he knows that she's the maiden, and he is telling her like, listen, if you're gonna put yourself in danger again to go fight these monsters, at least wear decent shoes and a better dress. And like, I love that scene. I love so many things about them. I love the friendships. I love everything that I've been reading so far. So yeah, I'm actually currently also coloring my Cassian and Nesta picture as I listen to that, because it's giving me Sarah J. Maas vibes. So I thought, hey, what better way to listen to From Blood and Ash than coloring this? So I am going to continue on with the book, but I'm loving it so far. It is a success so far. So this Abby vlog is honestly looking great so far. So fingers crossed it keeps on going that way. Hey guys, I don't know how to say this, but I finished From Blood and Ash weeks ago and I never updated you. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I kind of forgot to update this vlog, but I did finish From Blood and Ash a few weeks ago. And guys, it was so addicting. It was so much fun. The ending, I just binged it. I just couldn't stop listening to the audiobook, which the audiobook was a phenomenal way to go about these books. I think I'm going to continue listening to them on audio. But yeah, I really loved the ending. I loved how it was just like, holy crap, revelation after revelation after revelation. I knew there was something fishy. I knew it, and I'm so happy. It really made me want to read more fantasy romance, which actually sparked me to continue on with the Throne of Glass series and finally finishing it. But I really enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to continue on. It was a great recommendation. Thank you so much, Abby. I gave it 4 stars. So for now, every book in this video has been 4 stars, which I'm really happy about because I don't give romance 5 stars. So I love the flat share, and I would have given it 5 stars, but there's always something that makes it that I cannot give a romance 5 stars. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this one. And now onto the 3rd book. Hey guys, so a long time no see for this vlog actually, and I have a little bit of a change of plans for this vlog. I have changed my last book. So the last book I had to read for this vlog was The Library of the Unwritten. And I had all intention of reading it. I actually even started it, and then I wasn't in the mood for it. I put it down, which is the second time that this happens to me with this book. I really hope it's not the book, that it's just me and I haven't found the right time to read it yet. So in June we had the Shelf Space Olympics readathon, and for that one I picked a book that Abby had actually recommended on her channel before and we talked about before, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So I read this book inspired by Abby for the Poseidon prompt, and Abby was the captain of Team Poseidon who emerged victorious, by the way, so congratulations Abby. And I thought, you know what, this is the perfect book to add to this vlog and to close out the Abby vlog, because one, I read it for Abby, because of Abby, for a prompt. This book actually fits the theme of this vlog even better, and this book, or me reading this book, sparked a whole video that Abby did on her channel, which I will leave linked down below, and I will talk to you about it in a few minutes. So I thought this was the perfect book to close out this vlog. So we will be talking about Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is a romance novel, a contemporary romance novel. So what that means is that we don't solely focus on the romance aspect of these characters' lives, but we have their life and there is a romance mixed in it. It's like you have fantasy romance and you have erotic fantasy. Erotic fantasy is all about them sexy times, whereas fantasy romance also has like a fantasy plot in it, even though the romance is still the main focus. And this is the same here. Contemporary romance is not the same as just like a straight up romance. So in this novel we follow two main characters who are actually authors, and they knew each other back in college, and they were kind of nemesis, or at least our main character, whom we see the perspective from, she remembers him as like her nemesis because he would be very critical of her work. And so she has to actually leave her life behind that she's living at the moment because of some stuff that happened in her family. Her father actually passed away, and he had some secrets that he didn't really tell anyone about, or didn't tell her about until they came out at the funeral. And so she has to process everything that's going on with her family, and for that she actually goes and lives at her father's lake house that he left her, and she is going there to sort through all of his stuff. And while she's there, she also hopes to actually find the source of inspiration for writing again, because she is in the biggest writing slump, because she is usually writing contemporary romance novels with happy endings, where everything is beautiful, where love triumphs all, and her life at the moment actually shows her that love doesn't triumph all, that happy endings are maybe not even real. She hasn't been able to write a single book in a few months, so she goes to this lake town and she goes to her father's house there to sort through his stuff and sell the house. And then she realizes that Gus, her college nemesis, also a published author, is her neighbor, and shenanigans ensue from there. What happens is that they kind of start talking to each other, and turns out that Gus is also in a writing slump. He writes literary fiction and a little bit more darker themes, and where things are not as happy-go-lucky, more bleak toned novels. And these two authors decide to swap genres, and Gus has to write a happy romance contemporary novel, and our main character has to write a literary fiction serious book. And as they spend time with each other, you know, romance ensues. That is actually the main plot of this book, and I will say that I really loved it. I ate this book up. I read it in 2 sittings. It was just so engaging, so, I don't know, I just felt immersed in this book. I loved the Lake Town feeling. I loved the characters. I loved seeing their own struggles in their own lives, because both of our characters are going through some difficult stuff, which is why they're in this writing block. And then you see them working through their issues together, but also on their own, and then come together, and the romance was really cute. And I just really liked this book a ton. I think Emily Henry is going to be an auto read romance author for me, because I really enjoyed this one. And yeah, I actually gave this one 4 stars. Just like the Fletcher, I don't really tend to give romance novels 5 stars, but it is one of my favorite romances I have read ever. And I just thought, I don't know, the charm of the small town that they're in also kind of reminded me of Gilmore Girls with Stars Hollow, where everyone kind of knows each other, and then you have these events where everyone goes to, and then they're still like isolated because they are by the lake, and then the activities that they do. It was just a perfect summer contemporary romance. So if you're not looking for a super like sexy time heavy book, even though there are some sexy times in this book, I think this one will be perfect for you. It was perfect for me, and that is what I was looking for, and it was great. So I said when I started talking about this book that Abby made a video inspired by my reading this book. And what happened was I was on a reading sprint with Abby when I was finishing Beach Read. And I was listening to the audiobook, which was the US version, but I was also reading along on my Kindle, the ebook version, that was the UK version. And so I was reading, and then the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages happened, like the epilogue of the book came, and the endings were completely different. And I was reading and I was listening, and then I was so confused by these 2 different endings. And I messaged Abby, I was talking to her in the sprint, and I said, Abby, these books have different endings. I need to talk to you about this. So I messaged her and I told her the 2 endings that I had, and she had read the UK version, so she knew the UK ending. And she thought that that was so interesting, and she actually made a whole video about changes and differences in UK and US publishing, whether it be, for example, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone versus Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, cover changes, name changes, or like word changes, and then completely different endings. So I will leave her video linked up here and in the description of this video so you can check it out, because it was so interesting, and it was inspired by me reading this for her vlog. So it's like, you know, our vlogs inspired each other, and that was just such a fun moment. If you want to know the 2 different endings and you've read one of the Beach Read books, let me know, and I will tell you what the other ending was. I will say that both Abby and I preferred the UK ending because the US ending was a bit more sappy. It didn't fit the tone of the novel as well as the UK one. I thought the UK was a perfect ending for that book, and yeah, I prefer that one. So now that I finished the books for this vlog, the question poses itself: can Abby Salter make me like romance? And I think that the answer is yes. I have read From Blood and Ash, The Fletcher, and Beach Read in this vlog, and I gave all of them 4 stars. I don't have to give romance more than 4 stars, so I would say that this is a very big success. I could have given From Blood and Ash 5 stars because it is fantasy romance, not just pure romance, and I still really enjoyed From Blood and Ash. I mean, I gave it 4 stars. That speaks for itself. It was so fun, so engaging, so fast-paced, and the romance was fun, and I just had a good time reading it. I don't know, it was like rereading Sarah J Maas for the first time back in the day, and that's why I really enjoyed it. And I am actually very excited to get the sequel, but I'm not so excited to get the 3rd book, because since I started this vlog, the 3rd book has come out and a lot of people were disappointed by it. So I don't know, but I will be reading the 2nd book. So all in all, I will say that yes, Abby Salter can make me like romance. So thank you so much, Abby, because this was such a good taste test for the romance genre. Thanks to you. So there you go, guys. This is my book tasting Abby Salter version. I will say that I'm really happy for this first edition. I will leave the first video that Abby ever did tasting other booktubers' tastes as well in the description of this video, as well as the discussion video that I mentioned. And yeah, that is going to be it from me today. I'm very excited to do this in the future with other booktubers. I already have a few lined up. And yeah, that is going to be it from me today. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, and or if Abby has made you read a book that you really liked. And that's going to be it from me, and I will see you next time with another video. And until then, happy reading. Bye, guys.